Social Venture Partners welcomes you to Fast Pitch Tucson, presented to you by Tucson Medical Center. And now,
we are
compassion and caring.
Tucson.
The best group of nurses.
Strong and growing.
Really dedicated people.
State of the art.
The latest technology.
Advanced medicine.
World-class facility for our world-class physicians.
Committed to excellence.
Safer and higher quality care.
Healthy.
The healthiest that I've ever been.
Locally governed.
Genuine people.
Community owned.
One big family.
Not for profit.
Everybody truly cares about your health.
Dedicated to you.
They really took such good care of me.
Choose well. Choose TMC.
And now, please welcome your host for the evening, Director of Community Impact for Social Venture Partners Tucson, Jenny Grable.
Thank you all so much. Good evening and welcome to our third annual Fast Pitch Tucson event. What a treat it is to be here with all of you tonight. Social Venture Partners is so grateful to be the conduit for tonight's program. We are honored to have spent the last 2 months working so closely with the nonprofits showcased tonight and to have had the community embrace this event, as for the third year in a row, we have a sold-out crowd. But believe it or not, it has been over a decade since SVP has been here in Tucson, creating change, powering impact, strategically investing in some of the most promising nonprofits that serve Greater Tucson. And tonight, we are thrilled to share with you a snapshot of our community impact. SVP Tucson is an ever-expanding community of engaged philanthropists. We call them partners, dedicated to building the capacity, strength, and impact of nonprofits addressing social problems. And at SVP, all we see is potential. We recently celebrated 10 years in Tucson and asked the nonprofits we've partnered with about their SVP experience.
Transformational.
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 Transformational. Transformational.
In 2008, we had 6 staff members. Now we have 28. So we've increased capacity.
We also knew we could really use the expertise of the partners that was being offered to us in the areas of strategic planning, fundraising, et cetera, et cetera.
Because we have increased capacity, we've increased our impact in the community. So we serve now 30,000 children and families. So the growth has been quite exponential.
Essentially, we were an organization that had a great mission, had passionate staff, but what we didn't really have was the glue that kind of puts that together. We were able to identify programs and services that were not performing well and needed to be reduced, and we were able to identify programs and services that were highly needed, and that's just made an incredible difference in how we do our work today.
Bringing in a group like SVP is unique to me, having sat on other boards. I've never had that experience before.
In our work with SVP, we just have had an opportunity to really do some self-assessment and look strategically at how we should make decisions.
SVP accomplished their original goals to be, and that is to build the capacity and the sustainability of a nonprofit.
We had come from being a totally volunteer organization. We were struggling financially. The board had never really done a very thorough strategic plan, and we had just made the decision to walk away from our state contract. Now, the difference is like night and day. It's just tremendously huge.
I believe in the work that SVP is doing, and we've always wanted to be an investee. I will say that their impact has been tremendous in our organization already, enough to last a lifetime. We feel like SVP is a higher ground to our organization.
SVP is helping us take that step to grow up. SVP's partnership with SARSEF is giving us the stability that we need in order to make sure that we're around in Southern Arizona for another 62 years.
SVP Tucson envisions a community where everyone thrives. Join us, svptucson.org.
You see, SVP believes that together we go farther, and we invite you to join our partnership, to be a part of the change you wish to see in Tucson and the world. Our network spans the globe from Boston to Bangladesh, Charlottesville to Calgary, and in each social venture partner affiliate, a group, large or small, of engaged philanthropists who believe that their time, talent, and treasure can impact the community through strategic volunteerism, unrestricted funding, and powerful connections. We value partnership. We believe that we make a greater impact together. Curiosity, as we explore new ways to align our skill with passion and purpose. Impact, because we leverage unique assets to create positive change. We value equity and believe that all people should have the opportunity to succeed. And integrity. We take responsibility for our actions. And if these values and this message align with you, if they excite you, stop by the SVP table or connect with us after the event. We would love to share more and get to know how to align your skill and passion with purpose. Tonight, we celebrate and educate ourselves on the incredible work happening in the nonprofit community, led by this year's Fast Pitch participants. Because the truth is, our nonprofit leaders are the ones tackling this world's most challenging issues, and they cannot do it alone. With the help of our keynote, Vu Le, we invite you to gain greater awareness and understanding of the intricacies and insights within the social sector. Tonight, we gather as a community with a call to action to connect you to causes that move and inspire you to learn more and get involved. Get ready for an evening to stir your soul.
Known for his no BS approach, irreverent sense of humor, and love of unicorns, Vu Le's highly entertaining and provocative speaking style solidifies his acclaimed writer and orator status in the nonprofit sector. As the founder of nonprofitaf.com, formerly nonprofitwithballs.com, Le's unique and energetic speaking style discuss the vital role that nonprofits play in a just society. He brings a clearer vision of the inherent difference between the nonprofit and the for-profit world, engaging all with a healthy dose of humor and truth. Please welcome to Fast Pitch Tucson, Vu Le.
Oh, hi everyone. Whoa, it's really bright up here. I can't see any of you. I assume that you're in the audience. Thank you so much for having me. This has been such an amazing event. It's been so well organized. The bar has been set very high, and I am here to lower it. Okay. I run a nonprofit in Seattle called Rainier Valley Corps. We're trying to get more leaders of color into the nonprofit sector and build the capacity of organizations led by communities of color. And it's been very, very busy and very stressful these last 11 months or so. And so I'm really glad to get away from my staff. I told them that I am going to a one-week conference. I've actually been here since Tuesday. Yeah, and it's awesome here. I love Tucson. I was scraping ice off my windshield, the windshield of my 1997 RAV4. And it's like 80 degrees here. It's so cool. I saw the River Bride last night. You should all see it. It's an amazing show. It's really awesome. And then I had a drink at a bar that used to be a funeral home. Which one? There's more than one. I love Tucson. This is really great. It's been really cool, and the food has been really incredible. But the best part is that I got to meet with some amazing nonprofits that are doing incredible work here. They are so amazing, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about their work today. But first, I want to frame the work a bit because I'm not so sure many of us understand just how difficult and how challenging the work of nonprofits is. And I want to talk a little bit about that. So, the critical role nonprofits play in advancing an equitable society. By the way, there's just pictures of baby animals on every slide. There's no content whatsoever. It's just, no one pays any attention to the text, so just one baby animal per slide. They have nothing to do with what I'm talking about whatsoever, okay? So just keep that in mind, just baby animals. So, stuff we'll be talking about today. It's a baby javelina. I had no idea what a javelina was. And then Jenny told me about the baby javelinas, and I was like, I need to look at the baby javelinas. And so I spent like an hour looking at pictures of baby javelinas to pick the right picture of baby javelinas for this speech, right? Look how adorable. This is like the cutest baby animal ever, okay? Anyway, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about nonprofits, why we are so awesome, right? It's really important that we start and end with just how amazing nonprofits are. And we're going to talk a little bit about the challenges that we have, society's perception of our work, and some of the obstacles in our way, and what we can all do better to ensure that nonprofits' work is amazing and awesome, okay? And if we have some time, we're going to talk about Nonprofit the Musical. All right. But first, some disclaimers. You guys love the baby animals, don't you? Disclaimer 1 is that I have a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and having a baby is like getting a multi-year federal grant. At first, you're like, yay! And then you're like, this is a lot of work. I haven't slept in 4 years, and I have been hallucinating a lot, okay? I'm hallucinating this entire conversation with you right now, okay? So that's disclaimer number 1. Disclaimer number 2 is that I don't claim to be an expert. I have been an executive director and a fundraiser for like a dozen years or so, and I write a blog called nonprofitaf.com. And apparently in the US, if you write a blog long enough, someone is going to invite you to SVP Tucson to give a keynote speech. And it doesn't mean that you actually know what you're talking about, okay? So feel free to disagree with any of the stuff I'm saying. Disclaimer number 3 is that I don't claim to represent anyone except myself. It's easy to say, oh, Vu, he must represent all people from Seattle, or all people of color, or all attractive, intelligent people everywhere, or whatever, right? But that's no. You guys you're on your own, this first row right here. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, why nonprofits are awesome. We are amazing, y'all. We're so cool. Look, we contribute about $900 billion to the economy every year, which is about 5.5% of GDP. We are the 3rd largest sector, and we employ about 10% of the workforce. And this does not even count all the thousands of families we lift up and the communities that we build and the lives that we affect every single day, right? I mean, we do incredible stuff every single day. But we have some challenges. Society does not really see what we do. No one understands what nonprofits do. There's like 20 shows about baking now, right? About cakes. Okay. Aces of Cake or whatever, the great, amazing British baking show, whatever. Why isn't there a show about our work, the amazing, suspenseful work that we do every single day? Like, are we going to file that 990 on time? Or are these corporate sponsors going to fill their tables at our gala? Or do we need to pack the tables with volunteers at the last minute? Like, people don't see the work that we do at all. And when there is some portrayal of our work, it's usually very skewed. I was watching an episode of Law & Order, Criminal Intent. Does anyone here watch that? Yeah, a few people. Yeah, it's a great show. There was one episode where they were investigating a murder, and they discovered this one nonprofit was illegally selling human organs from its basement. Right. That's the perception society has of us. And it is so grossly inaccurate because no more than 5% of us are illegally selling human organs from our basement. Or whenever there's a social worker being portrayed, it's usually someone trying to remove kids from their families, and the kids have to get together, put on a talent show to save the family farm, and keep them together. This is what we got. And it's very discouraging. So I'm working on a few TV shows. I want to run them by you, okay? So, first show, The Amazing Free Supplies Race. That's when a bank moves or something and sends out an email. Hey, you nonprofits, we're moving. We have all these free supplies and furniture. And all these nonprofits assemble into teams to rush there to get that sweet metal filing cabinet that locks for the personnel file. Your personnel file should be in a locked metal filing cabinet. Okay? Or dancing with major donors. So you have a nonprofit leader and you pair that with a major donor, and then the nonprofit leader is like, oh, should I call this person? I emailed them 3 weeks ago. I don't want to seem too assertive. But what if they didn't get my email? Dancing with major donors. And my favorite, Nonprofit and Afraid. Who watches Naked and Afraid? Yeah, Tucson, yeah. Naked and Afraid is a show on the Discovery Channel, so you know it is educational. It takes these two people, they are strangers, places them in the wilderness, and they are naked and afraid. And they get one survival item each. It's usually a machete and a fire starter, and they have to build their own shelter and find food and water. And I'm thinking we take someone from outside the nonprofit sector and place them at a nonprofit. And we film them, and they get a survival item, and it's like a 1993 Honda Accord. I'm also working on Nonprofit the Musical, and it's going to be like Hamilton, but better, okay? I'm already working on some like really cool characters we could have. For example, we have the consulting robot. It is a robot that is also a consultant, and it repeats exactly what the staff says, but the board actually listens to it. And there's a development director character, but it's played by a new actor in every scene. And no one mentions anything about it throughout the entire musical. Okay? Now, if society's perception of our work is annoying, that's one thing, but it's actually been affecting our work. It's been leading to things like the overhead myth. Overhead, right? So we spend all of our time, a lot of our time, just trying to figure out who's paying for which part of which phase of the moon and all this stuff. It is really irritating. Overhead is not a thing, all right? We need to stop focusing on this, right? And because we're really nice people, we don't push back on this. So I want to give you all the language to use when talking about overhead and just how silly and horrible it is, right? So the metaphor I've been using is, imagine if a for-profit had to go under this whole overhead thing. Imagine we go to a bakery. I'm going to call it the Dusty Apron Organic Gluten-Free Hemp-Based Bakery. Because I'm from Seattle, and all of our baked goods are made of hemp and recycled water bottles. And we go and say, hey, I want to order a cake for some gluten-free veterans. How much is it going to cost for a cake for some gluten-free veterans? And then they go, oh, it's going to be $100 to serve 30 gluten-free veterans. And then the customer goes, well, you know what? I'm going to give you $20 because I never pay 100% for any cake. So you need to go find 4 or 5 other people who care about gluten-free veterans to pay for this cake. And then we're like, okay, sure, we have other people who care about gluten-free veterans. Okay, here's my $20, but with this $20, you can't buy more than 1 egg and 1 stick of butter. And no vanilla, because vanilla does not align with my priorities this year. And I don't want any of this money to be spent on the electricity for your oven, because that does not directly benefit gluten-free veterans. That's overhead. Electricity is overhead, and I don't want to pay for overhead. Right. This is what we deal with all the time. Okay? And then they come back later and they're like, we ordered this cake from you and it just wasn't very good. What happened? And then we go, oh, it's because we had 8 customers and one will only pay for flour, someone else matching equal amount of flour. One person will pay for vanilla, but only on Tuesdays. Then our oven thermometer broke down, but no one would allow it to be fixed because that does not directly benefit gluten-free veterans. So we spent all of our time just trying to figure out this funding Sudoku, who's paying for what. And that's what we got. This is what we deal with all the time, and we just need to stop it. I think the work has been so urgent that we need a new metaphor. So I've been using a new colleague, Kristen, says that we're like firefighting squirrels, nonprofits. I was like, that is the best image ever, firefighting squirrels. They're cute, they're fighting fires. That's awesome, right? But imagine if these squirrels are like going out there to fight these fires, and every 3 or 4 steps, someone stops and says, hey, I want to make sure that the money I'm giving you is going to the water and not the hose that you're using to fight these fires. What is your hose to water ratio? Is it below 15%? And we're like, oh yeah, don't worry. Yeah, you're only paying for the water. We got some poor sucker to pay for the hose and the fire suits and everything. Don't worry about this, right? Yeah, if we keep doing this to the firefighters, then, preventing them from reaching these fires and putting out these fires of injustice and poverty, then these fires spread. So the focus on overhead is no longer just an annoying thing. It is preventing us from doing our work, which is allowing injustice to spread. So knock it off. We can no longer afford to think about overhead any further. We're going to move on to sustainability. Right? The overhead myth is destructive, but so is the sustainability myth. The sustainability myth is this myth that if we nonprofits just work hard enough, we'll reach the state of funding nirvana where funding will just rain down from the heavens. And everyone will have perfect windblown hair every day. Right? And it manifests in this question that donors and funders often ask us, which is, what are you going to do when this $10,000 that I'm giving you runs out? What is your sustainability plan? And we have all been trained to BS this question. We say things like, oh, we will increase our board and staff's capacity to reach out to individual donors. We will build relationships with local businesses, and we will sell artwork that our kids in our after-school program makes. All of that is a euphemism for, we will leave you alone and bother other people. For 1 year. And then when you forgot that we applied to you a year ago, we're going to come back and reapply. I actually have a post called Standardized Answers to the Sustainability Question. And there's a long form and a medium form, and there is a 250 character or less form for some of these online applications. And in Seattle, there's a version where it talks about opening a marijuana store. You don't have to worry about that. And an executive director from Oregon emailed me and said, Vu, I copied and pasted your medium form into a grant application and got $25,000. So we have been putting up with this, but why? Why is there this expectation that we nonprofits have to do this work, but also have to sustain the work at the same time? Do for-profits have to deal with this? Do people walk into, I don't know, what is the local food specialty here? What do y'all eat? Tacos? Okay. Oh, this is a lot of answers here. Tacos. Prickly pear tacos. I don't know what you have. It's like, hey, here you have some amazing nopal tacos. And I read on Yelp that you spend less than 10% on electricity for your oven. But before I order some tacos from you, how do I know you're going to be around in 5 years? What is your sustainability plan? How are you diversifying your funding so that you're not so reliant on customers? This is what we do to nonprofits. It's like, and then, the taco shop is like, oh, well, we're going to spend more funding on advertising, and we're going to have someone out in the corner spinning signs to direct people into this. Like, sorry, that's not a good enough sustainability plan. I'm not going to order from you, right? Good luck. I'll come back when you have a better sustainability plan. Look, if everyone does this to a restaurant, it will shut down, right? But for some reason, it's okay to do this to nonprofits. We are doing a bunch of work that government should be doing. And yet we're also expected to sustain this work at the same time. That's ridiculous. And we need to put a stop to that. If people care about the work that we do and thinks it's amazing and it wants it to be sustainable, then sustain it. All right, we gotta talk about bisplaining. Bisplaining, all right? Bisplaining is like mansplaining, but when a for-profit does it to a nonprofit, right? Look, I love for-profits. I don't know a single nonprofit that distills vodka, and for that alone, I am grateful for for-profits. You all contribute so much to the economy and to our communities. It's amazing. We nonprofits love you, all right? You're amazing. But because you are our donors and our board members, we become very deferential. We don't say things. So then we just go to a bar that used to be a funeral home to complain about you. Right? So I want to deliver some messages that my nonprofit friends want to say to the for-profits here. All right? Just because you are really good at running a for-profit does not mean you know anything about running a nonprofit. It's like saying, oh, well, I'm a really great heart surgeon, so I'm now also a great beatboxer. Like, no, they're two separate things. They're not comparable, but yet we get this over and over, this sort of bisplaining as if we don't really know what we're doing, even though our work is actually like 10 times more complex, right? There are clear differences between nonprofits and for-profits. An example would be that as we become more and more successful, we become less and less sustainable because we incur more expenses without an equal increase in revenues. If Apple sells 1 million iPhones this month and next month it sells 2 million iPhones, it doubles its revenues. If we serve 100 kids this month and next month we serve 200 kids, we double our expenses, but no one's going to automatically double their giving to us. We will have to go out there and raise more money. Right? And then there's also the fact that we're expected to perform miracles on very limited funding. We gave you $10,000. Why didn't you cure homelessness? Like, we don't do this to for-profits. We don't go to Apple and say, hey, Apple, you sold 1 million iPhones this month? That's great, but that's like an output. That's not really an outcome. Apple, okay? What is your impact to society, Apple? How many people use their iPhones to update their resumes and then apply for jobs, and then you got jobs because of your iPhones, Apple? Okay? How many senior citizens, when they fell and broke their ankle, then they used their iPhones to go into WebMD to learn how to foster a tourniquet for their broken ankle, and because of that, they did not go to the emergency room, and thus they saved taxpayers' money. How much taxpayers' money did you save, Apple? Right? We don't go to Apple and we say, hey, I want to buy a phone, your new iPhone 10. How much is it? It's $1,000. Okay, here's the $1,000. But of this $1,000, I don't want more than $40 to go to Tim Cook's salary, and no more than $100 to go to research and development. None of this can go to your rent. And at the end of the year, I want to know what my money was spent on. Not your overall financial health, just my $1,000. What did you spend my specific $1,000 on? This is what we expect nonprofits to do, all right? So there's no comparison. And we nonprofits have to understand that. But for-profits, you have to understand this, okay? So no more bisplaining. If you've never worked in a nonprofit before, then maybe spend some time just learning about the work. Thank you. And I think that we need to understand just the role that nonprofits play. I think that we are underappreciated in society. I would compare for-profits to food. For-profits are like food. We can see food, right? We take pictures of food. We're foodies on Instagram or whatever, right? And nonprofit work is like air. It's all around us, but no one sees it until they really need it, until it's no longer there, right? But no one is like, I'm an airy, and then they go to different places to take pictures of air. So then people don't appreciate this work that we do, and because they're like, you know what, I don't need a food bank until you do. You know, I don't need the senior center until your parents really do need some social interactions and things. You know, I don't need to worry about this nonprofit that does cyberbullying work. Well, until your kid starts being cyberbullied. We all have to appreciate the work that nonprofits do because we all benefit from it every single day without realizing it. And we need to realize it because winter is here. Who watches Game of Thrones? Yeah, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is amazing, okay? Any of you who's not watching it, you should watch it. There's all these people, they're jostling for power, people fighting over resources. There's a lot of scheming. And the nonprofit sector is kind of like that, but with less frontal nudity. But in Game of Thrones, while people are fighting, there are these zombies that come out of the snow. And they're going to kill everyone dead. They don't care if you're fighting whoever, whatever. They're just going to kill you, right? And while everyone's fighting, they don't pay attention to the ice zombies. And we have them too. We have ice zombies of injustice and poverty and racism and misogyny and homelessness and everything. And we should be focusing on fighting those zombies and not one another. So we got to make a difference, and we got to do it better. We got to make a difference better, okay? So we got to start with trust. We got to trust one another, all right? We got to get over this overhead myth. We got to stop expecting nonprofits to be self-sustaining and generating their own earned income with ice buckets or whatever. All of us have to get out of this scarcity and martyrdom mindset, S&M, get out of it, okay? Half of you nonprofits are sitting on crappy chairs that you got from a bank that moved or something, okay? We deserve nice chairs to sit on while we change the world. All of these organizations you'll be hearing from are just incredible, and I'm so excited to hear from them. I want to end with, we are Jedi Unicorns, okay? Right? We're Jedis because we restore balance to the Force. And then people ask me, like, what's with you and the unicorn thing? Why are you so obsessed with unicorn? What is it? What? And I was like, okay, so I'll tell you a quick story. I got my master's in social work, and then no one wanted to hire me because I had no experience. So then I got this freelance writing gig working for a company called Bella Sarah. It made these card games aimed at girls aged 5 to 12. And you buy these packets of cards, and they have these magical horses on them, unicorns on them. And then you use the code that you find on the card to go to this virtual world, and it unlocks a unicorn that you take around this virtual world, and the unicorn teaches, you go on these little quests, and they teach other unicorns about love and compassion and friendship, and they grow things in their little virtual garden. And I wrote the dialogue for these unicorns. So I would write things like, hey, Sparkle Wing, would you grow me a moonflower? The company tanked 6 months after I was hired. But it made me realize we are the unicorns we seek. We are the ones going on quests to teach people about love and friendship. We're growing things. We are the ones building communities. We're amazing like that, right? And these organizations that you'll be hearing from today, they're incredible. And there's so many more that are just doing critical, important work right now. And I just want to let everyone know just how much I appreciate this. Personally, because my family came over when I was 8 from Vietnam, and we escaped this war. My father was put into re-education camp because he fought against the communists. And then we lost everything. And the worst part was we lost the sense of community. You know, we didn't speak the language, and we were in Philly, and it was just cold and lonely. And it was all these nonprofits that stepped in, that helped my family, helped us with getting to the food banks and getting transportation so my parents could get to their jobs. They were washing dishes at restaurants. But the best thing is that it restored a sense of community to us, a sense of community that we had lost. And this is why I am so grateful to the nonprofit sector and to everyone who's working in this sector every single day. So I want to end with just thank you for all the work that you do every single day. It matters. Thank you.
So, no joke, on my drive to drop my 4-year-old daughter off today, she said to me, "Mommy, is there such thing as unicorns?" And now I get to go home and be like, "Baby, not only are there unicorns, but I am a Jedi Unicorn." One more huge round of applause and gratitude for Vule. So now I'd like to take just a few moments to catch you all up on how we got here to Fast Pitch tonight. Because the Fast Pitch process begins long before the event, with countless individuals, organizations, foundations, and businesses working together to learn about and support the innovative work happening in the nonprofit sector. From our coordinating committee, who's been spending the entire year planning this event, to our selection committee, who selected the 15 nonprofits to go through the program. Our incredible mentors, who provided support through the process, to our keynote speaker. Yes, mentors, yes. Thank you all. Vu, our incredible judges, who I will introduce you to in just a few minutes. And truly to all of you, our community here to support us tonight. For clarity, the Fast Pitch program has 15 organizations that take part in the process. You will hear from 7 of the organizations presenting at tonight's event. We are just minutes away from hearing our 7 finalist pitches, but before we do that, we wanted to give you an opportunity to hear from the participants who are not finalists about their experience and their organizations. And remember that they're all here in the lobby, waiting to share their stories with you and accepting donations for their incredible work.
Fast Pitch is a 2-month communication skills building program, and so much more. It begins with our meet and greet, where our paired mentors meet their nonprofit participant for the first time. And there is magic within our mentors.
My mentors were lifesavers.
Having people who I knew were in my corner no matter what.
They were just invaluable. I can't say enough good things about them.
Within the program, we provide a half-day pitch workshop and 3 structured practice sessions.
What you're doing through your pitch is you're moving back and forth between these.
A bright future filled with rich opportunities.
And of course, our program product, a 3-minute honed pitch that shares the mission, impact, and a direct ask for organizational needs.
Other professional development opportunities offer you a lot of resources and tools, but they don't necessarily have a specific end goal and end product. This, I knew I was getting a 3-minute pitch out of.
Tonight, you will see 7 finalists, but the 15 organizations that went through the program are extraordinary, and we'd love for you to hear from those that you won't see on stage at the event tonight.
She kept saving, believing it would help her achieve her dream, a college education. The story of Michaela, I got the chance to speak to her before presenting this pitch, and hearing her story firsthand and being able to have the opportunity to share it with others was really the biggest thing I took away from this.
For 33 years, the Tucson Youth Music Center has been the sole focus of the Symphony Women's Association. What is the actual message and what it is we're trying to say to the public about music education and underprivileged children and why those two things are important.
But we want to stop the cycle of poverty. So we created Gap Kitchen, a culinary training program to educate those who might need a second chance in life.
I didn't even realize how many nonprofits are out there doing amazing work.
In our area, 1 in 10 teenage girls gives birth every year. Students do better, they rise to their potential when they know someone is there.
I became a member of a group no one wants to belong to, homicide survivors. The community getting to know who homicide survivors is and how we can help other survivors, and that this could happen to anybody.
How many of you talk to your kids about sex, drugs, the dangers of drinking and driving? Yet how many of you have really talked to your kids about money?
We are building the workforce that the future demands, creating entrepreneurs, innovators, and financially literate adults.
That is the unique thing about the disability community. Each of us can join it at any time. If you're an employer in the room, I want your jobs. I want people with disabilities working for you. I don't want you to miss out on that talent.
What is your reaction when you see a person pushing a shopping cart down the street talking to themselves?
This experience has pulled out of me a place of confidence that I did not have before in my ability to talk about the agency and to feel secure enough to talk about the agency in front of people.
We are so grateful to our Fast Pitch sponsors. Without them, this program would not be possible. Presenting sponsor Tucson Medical Center, our motivators Simpatico Integrated Care, and Tucson Electric Power. Happy 125th anniversary. Our collaborators LP&G Marketing, Biz Tucson, the Connie Hillman Family Foundation, Louis Roca, Rothberger, and Christie. The David and Laura Lovell Foundation. Double your impact tonight with the Community Foundation for Southern Arizona. Our originator sponsors, the Marshall Foundation, Desert Leaf, KXCI Community Radio, individuals John Duffy, Pam Grissom, Candy and Tom Grogan, Ann Maley and Tim Schaffner, Deb and Craig Watson, and our explorers, Habitat for Humanity, Next Trio, the Alliance of Arizona Nonprofits, Gadabout Salon Spas, Amy Charles and Steve McMillan, Renee Morton, Shelley and Steve Silverman. On behalf of all the organizations in the program and social venture partners, we truly thank you.
In addition, we would like to thank all of our connector sponsors and a huge thank you to Gadabout Salon Spas for making each of our finalists tonight so incredibly beautiful. Before we begin, each of our presenters this evening will be paired with one of our esteemed judges. These judges will each ask a clarifying question, something that sparks their interest about the organization, program, or something specific that they heard within the pitch. Before we begin our pitches, let's meet our incredible judges. Lights, please. Thank you. Leah Marquez Peterson, President and CEO of the Tucson Hispanic Chamber. Mimi Kumler, Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer of Tucson Medical Center. Susan Gray, Vice President of Energy Delivery at Tucson Electric Power. Dr. Tom Grogan, SVP Partner and Founder of Ventana Medical Systems. Gene Robinson, Arizona Public Media's Director of Marketing and Communications. Tabor McCullum, co-founder and Chief Technology Officer of Worldview. And Clint Mabey, President and CEO of the Community Foundation for Southern Arizona. And now for the moment that you have been waiting for. It's time for you to experience Fast Pitch, to watch each of our 7 presenters share their stories in just 180 seconds. Remember that we have thousands of dollars to give away tonight, including our TEP Power to the People Audience Choice Award, which includes a feature article in Biz Tucson. And at the close of the presentations, we are going to invite you to text to vote for your favorite pitch of the night. We'll have those details for you when the time is right. But for now, get ready to be inspired and move to action by our Fast Pitch finalists.
Please welcome Jennifer Moore, Director of Public Relations and Service Development, founding board member of the Abbey School.
Arden couldn't sit through class. She pulled her classmates' hair, cursed, and gave her teachers the finger. Arden has autism, and she didn't have many friends. Her parents fought to get her out the door in the morning, and they went through hell when she got home. They were desperate. They knew the right school could make all the difference, and they were right. My name is Jennifer Moore, and I'm the Director of Public Relations and Service Development at the Abbey School. We educate students with autism and related disabilities. Abbey was started with a parent's heart. It welcomes you with old pine trees, thick adobe walls, and peace of mind. We don't just teach the basics, like reading and math. We teach yoga, home economics, coding, and even orchestra. We also focus on the soft skills that make someone a good friend, a successful student, and a valued employee. And Arden is my daughter. Today, she is in the 10th grade, and her life is a victory. Did you know that 1 in 64 students in Pima County have autism? And that's not counting those with similar challenges like sensory processing disorder, ADHD, or anxiety. When traditional schools with their bright fluorescent lights and their loud frenetic hallways are no longer a fit, it launches the entire family into crisis. And that's why school choice for children with special needs is so critical. It's difficult to imagine the impact simple victories make in the lives of our students and their families. Success is Jeremy, who had to be dragged to school, but now can't wait for morning. Success is Diego, who used to hide underneath the desk, but now sits in his seat, actively participating. And success is having the skills to graduate from Abbey and into a more inclusive setting. You can help us build successes and change lives. Believe in our cause? Join us as a board member. Autism in the community is an overwhelming issue, and we need people with vision and dedication to link arms with us. Your private school tax credit contribution of $2,000 will allow us to educate more kids. And with your corporate or foundation support of $25,000, you can provide the lead gift in the campaign to purchase our campus, ensuring our longevity. At one time, I never dreamed Arden's life could be what it is today. But Abbey is a place of hope. Join us in changing outcomes for Jeremy, Diego, and the kids we haven't met yet. Their future is waiting. Thank you.
That was excellent, Jennifer. So moving. Wonderful job. I had one question as a follow-up. Can you tell me a little bit more about the soft skills that you teach at the Abbey School?
Well, I think that in a traditional setting, you're going about your day and you're focused on learning. But in a school like ours, so much is not just learning. Everything is a teachable moment. It's not just going to a lunch class to learn how to have social skills. It's hard for a child with autism to be able to generalize that. And so when you're at a school like ours, every time something happens, we're able to educate those children on a better way, how to be a team member, how to be a friend, how to be a student in a classroom.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And now, from Jewish Family and Children's Services of Southern Arizona, Liz Hernandez, Director of Marketing and Communications, sharing details about the program Project Safe Place.
I was 9, my sister 6, when our dreams were interrupted by the sound of loud yelling. Cautiously walking down the dark hall, my sister tugging at my nightgown, I froze in time to see my father swing his open hand across my mother's face. The next day, she wore dark sunglasses and said it was an accident and not to worry. We never spoke of this or other incidences like it again. I didn't know that the wounds from emotional trauma were just as serious as those from physical injury. Had I, as a child, had access to a program like Project Safe Place, I would have dealt with the PTSD that plagued me for many years, until I got treatment. Good evening. I'm Liz Hernandez with Jewish Family and Children's Services, a nonprofit agency helping people from all walks of life. I'm here to talk about our flagship program, Project Safe Place, that provides age-appropriate psychotherapy to victims and witnesses of violence and abuse. Over 70,000 children in Arizona have lived through multiple traumatic events, like mine and worse. Much like a brain injury, emotional trauma can affect a child's cognitive development, and if left untreated, this translates to destructive behaviors, depression, and even suicide. And the child that we don't treat today can also be the juvenile delinquent or criminal of the future. Given all of this, it makes sense to invest in childhood therapy rather than jails. Invest in Project Safe Place. Our master's level licensed therapists are among the best in the field. They tailor treatment to each child, quickly see them after intake, and provide therapy for as long as they need it. Last year alone, over 550 low-income people received treatment at Project Safe Place. Your gift of $75 buys one counseling session. You know, there are families that don't have a car, and we have seen unaccompanied children as young as 6 years old arrive at our clinical site in a taxi. Seed money of $10,000 can help provide safe transportation services with trauma-trained drivers. Project Safe Place gives hope and a voice to silent witnesses like me. In the words of a young survivor, Sophia, age 10, who learned this coping technique at Project Safe Place. I close my eyes and blow away a feather. It helps me relax. I'm sitting on a warm rock in the ocean, and there are sea otters swimming all around me. I love them. They're so cute with their big eyes. I practice feeling calm, and sometimes the sea otters do my homework. More than a program or a site, Project Safe Place creates a safe place within a child that lasts long after therapy. Please donate and help more children find their sea otters.
Congratulations, Liz. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear more about the trauma-trained drivers and why they're important to your program.
Thank you for asking that question and for giving me the opportunity to talk about something that I'm very passionate about. You know, it's hard enough and it takes courage for a person to go for therapy. And in the case of a person who's been a victim of crime, sexual abuse, or a horrific event, it's very challenging. A trauma-trained driver arrives already knowing what this person has gone through, and they're trained to respond to their special needs and act appropriately and create a secure, welcoming experience that will support that person's healing process. You know, imagine a girl who's just been sexually assaulted and is in a cab with a strange driver. She's already petrified. And something as simple as there's cigarette smoke or the radio is blaring loud music, can act as a trigger that can cause more emotional trauma. Trauma-trained drivers can avoid re-victimization of children and provide a safe bridge that takes them to our clinical site for proper treatment. Thank you for your question.
Please welcome Sean Cronin, Arts Integration Coordinator of Stories That Soar, a program of Literacy Connects.
Attention, everyone! Attention! There's a new hat. Have you seen it? It's a big black top hat with stripes and bright stars. This hat is special because wearing this hat grants you one special wish. And if you would like to buy it, it's only $4,000 at Adrian's store. What a bargain, right? That was a story written by a little boy named Adrian. He was just 9 years old when that story was brought to life by local adult actors as part of our Stories That Soar program at Literacy Connects. My name is Sean Cronin, and my job is to inspire students like Adrian to find their voice through the arts. With our new Stories That Soar High program, we found a way to double dip on the impact of that traditional model by mentoring high school actors as they perform the stories written by the local elementary school. During the show, the students light up as high schoolers perform their school stories. They perform characters from The Color Blue, A Gangsta Bee, or even A Family Divided by the Border Wall. How many of you have kids? I'm sure if you're anything like my mom, you still have their drawings and stories stowed away somewhere. Well, last year, at just 2 schools, this program inspired students to write 4,714 stories. Yeah. And I read them all. The arts motivate these kids, yet half of Arizona schools have zero budget for arts programs. Even though students in the arts are more likely to go to college, they perform better on standardized tests, and when low-income students are involved in the arts, their dropout rates go from 22% to 4%. I remember a boy named Jose. He was shy and soft-spoken, but when he saw his story on stage, he said, "I feel important. I feel like a true guy who actually exists." I invite you all to come see a show and see the magic that we get to create for students like Jose and Adrian every day. Speaking of Adrian, remember his special hat? It's $4,000 for a wish. That amount supports the cost of a single partnership. $12,000 supports 3 schools over the course of a year, but we're asking you to connect to a bigger story. Help us raise $60,000 in the next 3 years so that we can build this Tucson program into a curriculum, reaching students across the city, the state, and beyond. You can help us tell this story. Thank you.
Wow, Sean, that was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you for inviting us to your shows. Can you tell us more about how often you perform and where those performances are?
Yes, thank you. The good news is we have shows every 2 weeks with our adult performers. We are in schools. You could probably find one very close to you. Our high schoolers are performing once in the fall and once in the spring. And if you go to our table, we can find a schedule and a place that is nearby. And if you're really in for a treat, if you come to the Fox Theater in the end of the year event, our best of event in May, and it takes stories from all of the schools we work with over the course of the year, and we will perform them in one final show before the summer starts.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now, Chief Executive Officer of St. Luke's Home, LaDawn Sawyer.
They come with walkers and canes. They have paper-thin skin and bodies showing years of wear. Throw low income into the mix, and when we speak of older adults, glazed eyes look the other way. I see it every day. Good evening. I'm LaDawn Sawyer, CEO of St. Luke's Home, a holistic assisted living community for low-income elders, and we don't look away. We don't look away because 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day, and we don't look away because 46% of older adults in Pima County have incomes less than $30,000 a year, far from the average $48,000 needed for care. And you see, we really can't look away because these people are our parents, our grandparents. They could be us, right? They're people like Lois. Lois is a nurse and her husband of 50 years was a photographer. They worked hard, they planned, and they saved. But those plans were destroyed when he was diagnosed with dementia. And after 10 years of financial and emotional strain, he died, and Lois was left alone to rebuild her life with a $1,200 a month pension. Lois needed help, and St. Luke's did not look away. Because of our unique model, Lois is able to pay what she can to make St. Luke's her home. And it is a home that has natural beauty, mental stimulation, and programs that connect the generations, like our partnership with the University of Arizona that provides over 300 students a year, our future healthcare providers, the opportunity to understand and experience aging firsthand from people like Lois. But we can't do this alone. We need your help. Your $10,000 annual donation goes straight to the core of our services and allows someone like Lois to make St. Luke's her home. $750 means ceiling fans and comfortable beds. $100 buys needed supplies for our Pet Connections program, and that will make our resident Black Lab Rio very, very happy. You know, Lois was so grateful that St. Luke's did not look away, that she recently donated $25 to our community. That's a quarter of her personal spending money. So please, don't look away. Invest with us today, and together we will look this issue in the eye and make certain that Lois and others like her have the lives of hope and dignity they have earned and deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, LaDawn, and thank you for what you're doing. It's fantastic. My question is, tell us a bit more. How is it that St. Luke's is different from other adult homes?
One thing, well, first off, I want to say thanks for asking that question because it gives me an opportunity to really talk about how we are special. One of those ways is that we are an academic assisted living community, and that means that we have a formal partnership with the University of Arizona Health Sciences Center and the Center on Aging, so that we're a learning lab for students from the College of Medicine, Pharmacy, Nursing, Nutrition, and others, where they come in and not only do they learn best practice in geriatric care and well-being, but more importantly, my folks, the elders, get to be mentors and give back to the community. And they really are able to show what it's like to age and also how to problem solve with older adults as well as form really lasting relationships.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Here's Development and Research Director from the Florence Project, Amalia Luxardo.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Suleima was 15. Her hair was slicked back, and she wore a black shirt with jeans. Her right leg wouldn't stop bouncing as her foot tapped. The room was dark, walls were bare. Not a single sign that children actually live there. The truth is that on any given day, 1,600 immigrant children, just like Suleima, are detained in Arizona. As I got to know her, I learned that she was targeted by gangs, kidnapped, and raped in Honduras just days before she made her courageous journey north. Good evening. My name is Amalia Luxardo, and I am the Research and Development Director with the Florence Immigrant and Refugee Rights Project. Suleima was one of over 12,000 detained immigrant children we worked with last year. As I listened to her trauma, I thought of myself as a child, a first-generation immigrant with undocumented parents who lived in fear. For nearly 30 years, the Florence Project has been the only organization in Arizona to provide free legal and social services to those isolated in detention awaiting deportation. We work in a system where there is no public defender, yet studies have shown time and time again that having a lawyer by your side is the deciding factor to winning a case. In fact, 93% of detained immigrants who go in front of a judge alone will be deported. This is a death sentence. Here in Tucson, we are at the epicenter of the national conversation, and we know that our work saves lives. Our clients are LGBTQ individuals who suffered persecution, children who have been abused, abandoned, or neglected, women fleeing gender-based violence, or longtime residents of the United States. And they all have the right to be safe, to be treated with dignity, and to know their rights under the law. This evening, you can stand in the front lines of justice. Your gift of $500 will empower immigrants with Know Your Rights presentations. Your gift of $5,000 will help hundreds navigate the complex immigration system. And your gift of $70,000 can secure an attorney to save the lives of 40 children and adults, with a multi-year commitment saving hundreds more. When you invest in the Florence Project, you invest in children like Suleima, who, thanks to the efforts of our staff, has since been reunited with her family. Make a gift, help us fight, so that hope, justice, and freedom are not detained. Thank you.
Thank you, Amalia, for sharing that with us tonight. Could you tell us more about how the Florence Project is involved in a national conversation around immigration?
Absolutely, Jane. I'm so glad that you asked that question because our direct services on the ground are really so important, but we strive as an organization to make policy changes so that we have a greater impact on a national level. The Florence Project is unique in that because of our location, we see it all. And so our legal director, who spearheads our advocacy, works in collaboration with other national organizations to get the stories that they need so that people are aware of the important work that we do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Please welcome co-founder and executive director of Watershed Management Group, Lisa Shippick, sharing about their River Run network.
Can you remember the first time you donated to a cause? At the age of 10, I had started babysitting, and I used my earnings to become a member of the World Wildlife Fund and concern for our disappearing rainforests. My deep connection to nature led me to study environmental science in college. Graduate school brought me to the U of A. However, I wouldn't settle here, telling my husband that Tucson didn't have enough water to be sustainable. After working in the rainforests of Central America, I missed the old Pueblo, and I realized I could have the biggest impact at home. The little girl that wanted to save the rainforest became the woman that wanted to save the desert and make Tucson a sustainable city I could call home. My name is Lisa Shippick, and I have dedicated my life to this cause as the co-founder and executive director of Watershed Management Group. To fix our water crisis, we need to understand the story of Tucson's rivers. The Santa Cruz River was once a lush oasis with regular flows that supported the oldest known agricultural community in the US. During the baby boom era, Tucson grew wildly, and we happily watered our lawns and paved over the desert while we overpumped our groundwater and sucked our rivers dry. This water crisis remains today because instead of fixing the problem, we diverted our straws to the Colorado River. Not surprisingly, the Colorado River is also going dry due to hungry water users and ongoing drought. When Arizona declares a water shortage, who is preparing Tucson for this deepening crisis? Watershed Management Group is leading the way, empowering thousands of people every year to conserve water, recharge our aquifer, and restore the Sonoran Desert. We're harnessing the power of this collective action through the River Run network to restore our heritage of flowing rivers. Consider this. Each year, more rainwater falls on the city of Tucson than the entire amount of water the city uses from the tap. We're demonstrating this abundance at our Living Lab and Learning Center, where 100% of our water needs is met through rainwater harvesting. Through the River Run network, we're scaling up this work across Tucson, from Sabino and Tanque Verde Creeks to the Pantano and Rillito rivers to the Santa Cruz River. We're implementing river restoration projects, developing the science to restore flowing rivers, and mobilizing people, harvesting rainwater, planting trees, and monitoring stream flow. I'd like to ask each of you to join the River Run network, not merely to save water, but to save Tucson from our water crisis. Our goal is to raise $250,000 annually. For $100, you can fund a community outreach event. For $500, a river restoration project. For $25,000, you can fund the science and advocacy work to double our impact in 2018. We will see our rivers flow again. Join me tonight, and together we can create a prosperous Tucson oasis. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you. And you know, water is such a critical issue worldwide, but water is one of those unique things that can only really be addressed locally in every community. And I'm sure you all are a fantastic example looked at around the world. But talk to me a bit more about how you connect a member, a person in the community with the watershed. I mean, a lot of us just like drive over them, and we don't even have any idea what we're driving over. But talk to me about that connection that you make with people in our watersheds.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. That's what our organization specializes in, is really connecting people to the local environment here. And we do that through education and hands-on workshops. So we have a living lab and learning center where we have many free classes every month, and people can come and learn how to do rainwater harvesting, gray water harvesting, native gardening, or restoring the wash that runs through their neighborhood. So we engage people through those free educational opportunities, and then we actually get out in the community and lead workshops. So we're building community while we're solving this problem together, and you can actually see the results of that work every time you go into your yard or into your neighborhood. You can see when it rains, that water collected, infiltrating into the soil, supporting your native trees, and then ultimately recharging our groundwater.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for our final pitch of the night, please welcome the program manager for Youth on Their Own, Daniela Zaza.
I cheered as Serena walked across the stage towards her diploma. She had tears in her eyes because it's the culmination of a goal she never thought she could achieve. You see, her mother's a drug addict. Serena came into Youth on Their Own her senior year with straight Fs. By February, she was pulling A's and B's. She was on a mission to break the cycle. I know that for her, that diploma represents hard work and sacrifice, hope for a better future. I'm an advocate, I'm a community member, and I'm a teacher. My name is Daniela Zaza. As a high school teacher, for 7 years, I saw the impact of unstable homes on my students' ability to learn. Youth on Their Own, affectionately called YODO, was there for my students whose parents were not. They did well in school because YODO believed in them. I was inspired by their mission. I was so moved, I left my teaching career, and I now manage the YODO program. We help homeless youth graduate high school by providing basic needs and guidance. We champion youth who don't have parents due to abandonment, abuse, neglect, and incarceration. And our YODO mini mall is a safe place where youth can shop for food, hygiene items, school supplies, and more, all for free. Imagine sitting next to your classmates when you don't have toothpaste to brush your teeth. Imagine working on a group presentation when you don't have deodorant. And imagine trying to pass a math test when you haven't eaten dinner or breakfast. You can help us eliminate these barriers to success. It was the community that changed Serena's life. Through school, she worked 2 part-time jobs, fought for custody of her siblings, ages 4, 11, and 17, and at 19 years old was forced to parent. She relied on the mini mall to provide the items they couldn't afford. Homeless youth are 4 times more likely to drop out. Arizona ranks 5th worst in the US for child homelessness. Last year, YODO helped over 1,600 youth, 3 times the number of people in this theater, and gave out over 9,000 pounds of food, of hygiene, and 28,000 pounds of food, all without federal funding. Only 10% of our youth visit the mini mall, because for many, it means a 2-hour bus ride to our offices. We have to do better, bring what they need to them. A $10,000 investment launches our mobile mini mall, a bus stocked with food, hygiene items, school supplies, and more that travels to Pima County schools. Any gift level given helps YODO youth access the necessary supplies so they can focus on graduating high school, not on how hungry they are or on what they don't have. Too often, our staff are the only ones cheering YODO students on at graduation. No family, no proud parents waving posters and balloons. But they're not alone. This May, when 275 youth, just like Serena, walk across that stage, you can be there. Because when you give to YODO, You become part of the community, the family that cares. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. As you know, in some schools, you don't know who the homeless youth are that are going to that school. So how are you finding the youth and connecting them to Yodo?
Thank you. That's a question we get asked a lot because with 1,600 youth, where do we find them? We have a very, very strong partnership with the schools in Pima County. We have amazing school counselors, vice principals, social workers that volunteer their time, and they're called Yodo liaisons, and they help identify the students. They partner with registrars to see who's registering without their parents. They partner with DCS caseworkers to see who's in foster care, and that's how they connect to us. But honestly, kids tell kids, youth tell youth, and so often they'll hear their friend that says, I don't have a place to go, and they say, you should really go talk to the Yodo liaison. I think you qualify for youth on their own. So it really is a community collaboration to get youth into our program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What amazing work being done in our community. One more round of applause for our extraordinary finalists. As an organization, SVP Tucson is humbled to have been able to steward this process and showcase these incredible organizations tonight. Remember that these are our finalists, but that all of the organizations that went through the Fast Pitch program training are all here tonight to share their stories with you. So please take some time, visit their tables after our awards ceremony. We still have thousands of dollars in awards to give away tonight. In fact, you can double your impact on all the nonprofits who benefited from our Fast Pitch program when you donate tonight. The Community Foundation for Southern Arizona is generously matching every dollar raised here by any of our organizations up to $5,000 total. Help us take advantage and not leave a single dollar on the table. Next Trio has generously provided Nextreon volunteers. They're in the red polos, and they're here to help support you making your donations. We also encourage you to visit the nonprofits' display tables, as you can give to them directly. And now, here is another chance for your voice to be heard. Our finalists have done their job, and now it's time for you to do yours. In just a moment, we will open our poll for our TEP Power to the People Audience Choice Award. This is a $5,000 cash prize plus a Biz Tucson feature article, and you will be able to text in your vote for the pitch that moved you most. Polling will be open for 10 minutes, so get your votes in quickly. The text codes for each organization will be on the screen, and you text their code to 22333. The slides with the text codes will loop, so don't panic. They're going to be up there for that full 10 minutes, looping for you. We're opening the polls now, so get out your phones, place your vote, and stay with us. We'll have our awards ceremony in just 15 minutes. Thank you again.
Lights will be dimming in 30 seconds. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, and now to host our award ceremony, please welcome to the stage SVP, Chief Executive Officer, Sierra Garcia.
Thank you. Every day, and especially tonight, I am so incredibly grateful to be able to serve as the CEO of Social Venture Partners. And what an inspiring evening this has been. From Vule's humorous and insightful message to our 7 innovative nonprofit pitches, I would imagine that all of you are feeling the way I am, inspired into action. So join me in welcoming our 7 finalists back to the stage so we can show them how much we appreciate their hard work changing our community. Each of our finalists will receive a $1,000 award from Social Venture Partners Tucson. Thank you all. Aren't they fabulous? And so now it is my honor to introduce you to the voice of Fast Pitch. You may wake up to his voice in the morning or listen to him on your morning drive to work. It's Greg Curtis from 94.9 Mix FM.
Man, do we live in a great community or what? I mean, when you see these people come out here, so thankful that we have great people trying to make the world a better place, you know, not because somebody said they should, or not because somebody said, well, I'll give you some money if you want to start an organization. These are people who start organizations because they want to, because they see a need. And I'm always so thankful to be at this event every year, because it just like brightens my day, you know what I mean?
Well, and we wouldn't do it without you.
And I think they all texted votes for each other, right? They didn't text for themselves?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised because they have such a sense of community and support for each other.
They're hugging each other back there and high-fiving. It's a really great thing. All right, so for the awards, that's what we're here to do.
That is what we're here
Let's
for.
give away the money. In addition to the finalist award each organization has just received, we have 5 more of these fantastic awards to give out tonight. Each one has been decided upon by a different group, and any of the awards tonight are anybody's game. So any one organization, one of these organizations could win all of them theoretically, or win multiples, or however it works out. I have no idea who's going to receive each award, and I'm kind of excited. How about you, Sierra?
I'm excited as well.
Well, let's keep it going. And now, our first award presented by the Connie Hillman Family Foundation. Please welcome Carrie Rednauer, Susan Villarreal, and Larry Adamson.
And the winner is...
Safe Space.
Project Safe Place. Liz Hernandez with Project Safe Place.
Congratulations. What would you like to say?
Thank you. I want to thank my team, Kelly, Morgan, Patty, Grover, and my CEO, Carlos, who supported me for missing meetings and all the work that went into doing this, and all the clinicians from Project Safe Place, who, as I said, are among the best. Thank you for being here. And also my family, my son, Jason, and his father, Bruce, and my best friend, Susan. Thanks for coming. And everybody else.
She's excited, and she deserves to be. Congratulations. Take the money and run.
This is the best part of the night.
Totally.
Okay, so next we have the Simpatico Integrated Care Award presented by Michael Johnson.
Tell us what you'd like to say, Mr. Johnson.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank everybody for being here tonight and congratulate everybody, all of the participants. I have actually been a mentor this year, and it's been an absolute honor to serve in kind of a volunteer capacity. And all of the participants did an absolutely amazing job. This award is presented on behalf of the Centene of Arizona's employee base. So we sent out the final dress rehearsal videos to all of our staff, and the staff voted on their favorite.
And that is?
Youth on Their Own.
Congratulations.
This is really dedicated to the staff at Youth on Their Own who do the really hard work every single day and who really champion these amazing young men and women. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, perhaps the most exciting award of the night. Is that what you have?
That is what I have, yes, the most exciting
Should we
award
give that
of the
award?
night.
This is the TEP Power to the People Audience Choice Award. This is the winner chosen by you through our Text to Vote campaign tonight. This award not only features $5,000 in cash, but it also features a 2-page feature article in Biz Tucson magazine. Please welcome Susan Gray, Joel Salkowski, and Wendy Erica Worden from Tucson Electric Power to the stage. With the big check.
Nothing to say other than to congratulate all these folks. They did an amazing job. I'm sure it was very difficult for this crowd to pick a winner, but they did pick one.
And that winner is?
Youth on Their Own.
$5,000 and a feature in Biz Tucson magazine to Youth on Their Own.
To you all, you make a difference. Thank you so much. It's amazing.
And you make a difference. Thank you. Yeah, take that check. Thank you very much.
So we have 2 more awards to go. And to present the Judges Award, I'd like to invite Clint Mady and Dr. Tom Grogan to the stage.
The judges were held up in the green room with a bottle of champagne. And yeah, once we got through the bottle, we came to a decisive opinion. And the winner for the judges was the Florence Project.
$7,500 to the Florence Project.
This is for all of my fellow non-profiteers who have the courage to do the hard work that we do, and for all of our clients out there who need all of our services. Thank you so much.
Okay, for our final award of the night from SVP, Tucson Partner, and Fast Pitch Chair, please welcome John Smith. There he is.
Well, as Jenny's already told you, we at SVP have been so privileged to go on this journey with these 15 amazing nonprofits. The end of this journey, which is right now, we have to choose just one to receive the next award. And we've done it. The winner of the SVP $10,000 award is the River Run Network.
River Run Network, a $10,000 check.
Thank you so much. I want to thank the Watershed Management Group staff for supporting me through this process and the board, but really I want to thank the Tucson community, everyone who's been part of our organization, been part of the River Run Network, and hopefully all of you will be part of the River Run Network by tonight, for making this dream and this vision a reality and really bringing back our heritage of what this community was founded on. So thank you so much.
I'm just glad living in the desert that we have people thinking about where we're going to get our water.
It's an important thing.
It's kind of important.
So we all thank you for being here, for sharing your Thursday evening with us, for allowing us to inspire you, and I ask you to think about how you can take that inspiration and turn it into action. We are now going to open the doors to the theater and invite you to go back out into the lobby and in the patio. We have more food, the bars are open, and all of these nonprofits that you've seen on stage or that you met in our video will be out there to introduce themselves to you, to get to know you. Thank you.
Let's get some Judges champagne.